So thank you everybody for attending. As Cindy said, we are a website company, and my background is in jewelry since I was about 15 years old, which was quite a bit of time ago. So we're at a pretty interesting place where technology meets jewelry, and obviously we saw some things last year. We have about 460 clients in the jewelry industry on our website platform, and we were able to see everything from small stores and how they reacted to large stores that were already somewhat ahead of the game and how they reacted. And we got to see, I think we got to learn some pretty valuable lessons, and so much so I think we can use them to make predictions into what lies ahead in 2021 and potentially beyond. So jumping right in here. So 2020, it's kind of funny. I've mentioned to a couple of people that we saw a 500% increase, and it almost sounds like a made up number. But looking at e-commerce for 2020, we actually literally saw over 500% increase in sales. We saw 578%. So you're talking about almost a 600% increase in e-commerce sales in terms of real dollar volume, and then a 510% increase in orders. So the number of orders went up 510%. And so what that means is a larger increase in sales. It means that dollars actually went up, meaning dollars per order went up. And that's typically been the case over the last couple of years. And we're glad to see that that's still happening. But over the years with jewelry, as many of you probably know, looking back 5 years or so, people weren't comfortable buying jewelry online. And so when people were buying, they were often buying the cheapest things that were possible. And that's slowly been coming up. So that's been nice to see. And that again happened in 2020, no huge surprise there. But what was nice is seeing orders come through that were over $10,000. And so I think many of you have potentially heard me say this before, and I apologize for repeating myself. But one of the things we did early last year was tie our e-commerce platform into our company chat, so that every time one of our clients made a sale, we got to see it. And it was a cool way for us to rally behind our clients and say, hey, nice job if they made a bunch of sales, or just keeping an eye on how well things were working. And also see what's going on out there, keep a pulse on the number of sales that were coming through. So we did this early on in the year, right before Valentine's Day. And so it was a cool time to start because we saw the flow of Valentine's Day from start to finish. We saw lots of transactions come in for Valentine's Day. And it became very real to us that, we're seeing transactions, we see these ups and downs. And then obviously COVID hit, right? So March hit, COVID hit, and things really slowed down. I mean, it got really, really sluggish. And I think during that time, everyone went back to the drawing board, just trying to figure out, well, first of all, I think a lot of us thought it was going to be over in a couple of months, right? So as I think people embraced the idea that this wasn't going away and that things needed to change and that they needed to spend more time than ever on their website and learn all of the valuable lessons on, getting things right on your website for e-commerce. And then what happened was pretty phenomenal right around Mother's Day. So about 3 days before Mother's Day, literally my phone was nonstop buzzing in my pocket, every order that came in. And so I think Mother's Day pretty much kicked it off for us, where starting, excuse me, Mother's Day, I think both customers and retailers started to embrace the idea of web and e-commerce, so much so that Mother's Day was through the roof, and it was really exciting to watch. And so going through Mother's Day weekend, and then from that point forward, we just saw an uptick in sales across the board. For every single month was higher than previous months. We saw some highs and some lows, but overall it was pretty incredible to watch and be a part of. Another thing about 2020 that we saw that I think was very valuable here is jewelry is the answer. And I think if you softly relay that to people, you can really win. And a lot of our retailers did. So you think about different ways that you can commemorate a special occasion, whether it's a 25-year anniversary or a 50th birthday or whatever it is, where, I'm a travel person. I'd rather spend my money on travel than anything else. And there are no trips, right? It's not, people feel unsafe jumping on a plane nowadays. You can't have a big dinner. If you're a party person, you can't really throw a big party. So what's left? And jewelry is a really great answer. And so just getting that idea out in front of people through email, through social, and a lot of the ways that I'll talk about in the next few slides, just reminding people that jewelry is there, and that jewelry is this is a great opportunity to give jewelry as a gift or to commemorate a special occasion. You know, you're not having even graduation parties, so giving someone a charm or a pendant or something for their graduation. All of these things, we need to look at the value and then start to broadcast this value. You know, we don't have to say, hey, jewelry is the answer, you have nothing else going for you. But by just putting beautiful pictures of jewelry in front of people at this opportune time, a lot of our clients are winning. And I'll get into that a little bit. So because we're a website company, I'll jump in first on what I can offer in terms of feedback for how to embrace this and how to jump into e-commerce. So the first thing that you probably heard me say a bunch of times, and again, sorry for repeating myself, but one of the most important things continues to be imagery, right? It's a major task. It's big. You have potentially 5,000 or more products on your website and in your store. It's hard to get all of them into some form of folder or directory of beautiful photographs and have them match up with the items. But there are some great tools out there now that didn't exist in the past, and there are a lot of success stories. So many people have been forced to do this that you can sort of follow in their footsteps, lay a path forward for yourself, whatever that looks like, even if it's a couple a week or, you know, one or two a day. What we recommend to people is on the intake of new products when they're coming into the store, make sure you photograph them at the same time that you're putting them into inventory. And so therefore, you know that any new product is going to have a beautiful picture associated with it, potentially a video if you can, it adds even more value. But you know, the image, jewelry sells based on beauty, right? So having the image be gorgeous, you're already winning the first deciding factor, which is the picture, right? No one's going to be attracted to even look at the price or look at the attributes of a piece if it's not gorgeous. So hit that first home run if you can. And then the second deciding factor will be price and good data, but get that first part right. And then getting into data and product attributes and having those correctly set in your inventory control system on your website, and the two if they're married and they work together. But when people do see a product that they love, the next thing is, okay, I'm about to spend, as we see here, $4,995. Um, what can I learn about this ring before I make this purchase? This is a big purchase. I want to know more about it. I want to know about the diamond qualities. I want to know about the metal and where it came from, and anything. I would say that nothing is too much when it comes to this. And you can see from this picture here, there's a little more button at the end of an already hearty description, where we have some of our clients actually just dumping enormous, obnoxious descriptions in there. And it's great for SEO value, but it's also just, it answers every question down to when this will ship and the method that'll ship and what type of box it'll come in and return policies on these items, everything. No amount of information is too much, but the last thing you want to do is show them a beautiful piece and then have them leave because there wasn't enough information about it. They didn't trust it, or just, you know, they didn't feel good about the purchase because they weren't equipped with enough information. So leading in from there, another really big success metric that we can share is where we saw success with landing pages. Excuse me one second there. So landing pages, so you take the top level categories on your site: earrings, necklaces and pendants, bracelets, bridal. Bridal's obviously a big one. Custom jewelry, any of these things, and you create landing pages for them. So you create dedicated pages on your website for any of these top level categories. The value there is you have to look at the shopping experience for each major product type. So each one is going to be slightly different. And if you think about it, the buying process and the experience for someone buying an engagement ring or something bridal is very different perhaps than someone buying some thin, dainty stackable rings on your website, right? One is a luxurious experience. There's a lot of romance behind it. And the other one is a fashion accessory type purchase where someone just wants to buy something flashy. And so this is what I call death by a thousand rings. The mistake that a lot of people make is you have a rings category, you click on the rings category, and the customer winds up fending for themselves in a category with 1,000 rings in it, or every ring that you have in inventory. And this is really the last thing that you want to do. And so I'll show you what I mean by creating, let's see if I can find it here. All right, hopefully you can all see that. So this is actually a landing page that we created for one of our clients. And this is strictly for engagement rings. So we're looking at engagement rings and we're looking at the buying experience and the mindset of the person buying engagement rings. So obviously everything has to be gorgeous, very high end, very vibrant images, laid out very well, like there was some thought put into it. And you have to think about the different mindsets of people coming in here. And so rather than imagine you're dumping them on a page with 500 different engagement rings, or you allow them different entry points. So do you want to choose your setting first? Do you want to choose your diamond first? Is price a big factor in this buying decision? So give them entry points into price. Tell them a little bit about diamond engagement rings versus gemstone engagement rings, which happen to be big for this client in Washington. um, our favorite rings. So this is great for the male consumer, the male shopper, when they typically don't, they come into a store, they don't know what to buy, right? So giving them gift guides and giving them curated selections, these are our favorite, which automatically denotes that everything that's not on this list is perhaps not quite a favorite. And so you give them a smaller selection, you help them with the buying purchase. Financing. So this is a page about engagement, but we're actually talking about financing here. So, if everything on this page looks like it's too rich for your blood, here's an option for you. You can pay over time. So you're really trying to solve everything very in a beautiful way, all the different things. And then here we have custom engagement rings. So you got through this whole page, didn't see anything you like, maybe you want to get into custom. And so you're taking the mindset of the person that's coming through, you're giving them real opportunities to, you're creating an experience, which I think is the most important part of this, and you're not just dumping them into 1,000 rings or whatever it is. So where are my slides? So really big, really, really effective for us. And I'll actually get into more on how you can measure the effectiveness of it. But another thing that was big for us, starting in about May of last year, our clients got really big into financing. So alternative payment options, as they're called. So we added Affirm and Sezzle to our site. We had PayPal credit for a while before that, and people immediately started to see an uptick. What was surprising, I think, was that people started seeing more sales from their own clientele. So it wasn't just that they were reaching a different audience or a younger audience because of these newfangled buying opportunities through these buy now, pay later gateways like Affirm and Sezzle, but it was perhaps that somebody had their eye on a piece and couldn't justify the purchase until all of a sudden you gave them the opportunity to pay over time. And now that big ring wasn't such a big ring because you were not having to pay for it in a lump sum. And so that was surprising. That was great. And a lot of our clients actually reported month over month, literally doubling their sales volume. So definitely want to get into the financing game and add financing to your website. Now, a little more complicated here is the buying funnel and the behavior flow. So actually right in Google Analytics, which is how we do this, there's something called the behavior flow diagram. And it's right in there under behavior on the left side. And you can look at where people are coming into the site and then where they're dropping off. So you can see the first point of contact with their site. Let's say it's this engagement ring landing page that we were looking at. And then hopefully from that engagement ring landing page, they're going into something that's more drilled down. So choose a diamond or a custom piece or your financing page. But let's say they're coming in and they're just dropping off. So now you want to look at that page and you say, okay, it's doing its job, it's getting people in, but now what's the next step? How do we emphasize? Are our buttons big enough? Can we emphasize in more clear terms what the person should be doing next? Maybe we have too many options on the page, so should we slim it down a little bit, give them fewer options? There are a lot of different things that you can do to these pages to tweak them, and a lot of it is just learning through trial and error, and eventually you develop an intuition. But looking at these behavior flow diagrams and looking at them across your whole site, so maybe your engagement one is great, but your bracelet one isn't working so well. And so you can look at these pages, tweak each of them. And what you really want is people coming in on these landing pages. So they search on Google for bracelets. And then they wind up on your bracelets landing page. They click on stackable bracelets or bangle bracelets. And then hopefully we're getting them into a product page and then into a cart page. And then either they've inquired about the product or they've added it to their cart. That's really what you're looking to do. And so as you're tweaking things on the page, you want your behavior flows to not just stop at one page, but to lead all the way through. And so in doing so, you can really learn that there is significant value in these pages. And we all know that just dumping people into a raw product category is not the best thing. It doesn't curate an experience for people.
Brian, it sounds a lot to me like the experience you want your customer to have when they come into your store.
Great.
You've got your merchandise categorized and displayed in a way that makes it easy to make a decision and not get confused and overwhelmed.
100% right. So if someone came in and said, I'm looking for an engagement ring, you wouldn't just say, here you go, and just like leave them in front of your showcase. You'd probably have a slight conversation with them about what are you looking for. You're exactly right. You're trying to mimic that same experience. That's a great way to put it. Jumping into social media. So social media obviously has a lot of opportunities right now because of COVID. It's a way to reach people because they're maybe not coming into your store, definitely not in the same volume that they were in 2019. So just being social, the act of being social, getting out in front of people. And this goes back to what I said in slide one, where you're reminding people that jewelry really is the answer here. And so getting in front of people, one of the things that you want to do is, so you can be aggressive a little bit, go after people. So by increasing your following, you are increasing the number of people that are going to respond to any broadcast that you do on social media. And I'll go back, the first thing that you want to do is start with beautiful pictures, right? Jewelry just lends itself to having beautiful pictures, and if you do that well, you won the first part of it. Getting pictures on your Instagram page or your Facebook page, especially Instagram, that are gorgeous, every step that you do after that, you're going to win because you have these beautiful pictures. So let's say on social, you go to pages like your own and wherever, and you either comment. So you're getting your name out there in front of people that like these pages, but then you also maybe reply to people that are commenting on the page, or you follow people on Instagram that are following another page or commenting on another page. And you're just getting yourself out there and making it so people can see you. That's going to develop more followers. So that's one of the oldest tricks in the book for getting more followers. But when they get back to your page to check out who you are, if you have gorgeous images there, that's going to make it so that they do want to follow you. They want to check you out. They want to keep up to date with whatever you're posting. So keep it relevant, keep it hot, keep it always moving, keep it exciting, and get yourself out there. Another thing is, just so you have more valuable content on there, you always want to be announcing things. So whether you're doing giveaways or anytime you have new merchandise, you walk into a jewelry store, and unless you're a frequent visitor, you don't necessarily know that things are constantly churning, that you have new products coming in the door, right? So the staff knows, but people don't generally know when they first walk in the door. And so if you can announce, hey, new this week or whatever, you have a product selection of things that are new this week or handpicked for this season or whatever it is, another easy, just like softball, thing to do on social media. And then gift guides is another thing that just makes it super easy for guys that aren't typically making educated decisions. Just like another softball pitch for them. Like, here are a couple of things that we picked out for you. These are the best in hottest gifts for right now, that sort of thing. They work really well for our clients, and they're inviting. They get people in the door. So they get people from social onto your website, which is really what you want to do. And then advertising on social. So over the last couple of years, we know that the price is going up for advertising on social, and it's always been a good deal. I mean, it's always been well worth it to do, especially for jewelry. But right now, engagement is higher because what else are really people doing to be social outside of their own small COVID bubbles where they feel safe? They're not out there talking to people, mingling, and things like that. So people that want to be social are on social right now. And so that advertising dollar is going to go a longer way right now than it would have done in 2019. And so advertising is just an awesome thing to do. Again, you have beautiful pictures, you're getting them in front of people. And then one of the cool things is if your website ties into Facebook and Instagram, where you can automatically sync your product categories between the two, then you can make it so that somebody looking at a product on your site, let's say on Tuesday, where they're interacting with it, it's clear that they want to see this product. Then on Friday, while they're browsing Instagram, that same product pops up because your catalogs are linked between your site and with Instagram. And if you have your Facebook pixel installed on your website, then Facebook knows everybody that's viewing your website and what they're seeing. So it's a way to retarget people on Instagram while they're laid back on a Friday afternoon, and maybe they saw the product on Tuesday and said, this is an impulse buy, I love it, but I'm not just going to do it. when it comes back to them on Friday and it's the same exact piece, it's not just an ad for your store, typical retargeting. It's actually the same piece that they were looking at. Now it's like, okay, I really did want this piece. So it's a great way to get people back in. It's generally low cost. It's low cost to manage. It's low cost to do. We don't recommend you put a ton of money into it unless you're getting tons of traffic into the site, but it's also high ROI. There's a very high conversion on it because you're showing people ads for products that you already know that they like. So highly recommend this. Now, this is probably one of the biggest lifts that we saw in 2020 was email marketing and what was happening in email marketing. So what was cool is we have a client in Atlanta, D. Geller, and just the other day, literally maybe 2 days ago, that same, coming in our company chat every time somebody makes a sale, we just saw D. Geller made a sale for X dollars. D. Geller made a sale for X dollars. And it was just continual. And it was like, okay, they sent an email out. Like it was very, very clear to see, okay, they just sent an email out this morning. So they're getting sale after sale. This stuff works. And it goes back to reminding people. It goes back to just like social, just keeping it fun, it's not a sales circular that you want to be broadcasting. It's beauty. You're just reminding people that that jewelry is beautiful and that it's a great gift. Or like, so you look at this one, this is an actual example from one of our clients that went out in January, obviously January. But it's beautiful. It's loud, but in a nice, striking way. And it captures your attention. It's also subtle. It's like take it or leave it. This is informative. It's, garnet is the January birthstone. So if you have somebody on your list that you want to buy for, another reminder, jewelry is the answer. And so, these things go out. We see the e-commerce uptick every time it happens. And your goal is really to keep it fun, keep it seeming like you're constantly doing things. And you just want to constantly put jewelry in front of people. So, excuse me. So you want to announce any announcements that you're making on social media, you also want to do on your email list. And another thing I'll get into is segmenting your list. So like the biggest rookie mistake, once you get more than, let's say 3,000 or 4,000 people on your list, is just constantly barraging your whole list with your email. So one of the easiest things that you can do is break your list up into groups and then target that group with different emails. So like one of the first segments that you can create for your list is high spenders versus low spenders. Excuse me. So let's say, and again, this goes back to buyer experience, right? The person that's buying a $10,000 item has a different experience and sees different pictures and different jewelry. And when they walk in your store, they're going to different showcases than the person that's coming in buying the $250 stackable ring or small bangle bracelet. And so likewise, as Cindy said, catering to the experience in the store, you want to sort of do the same thing here. You want to say, all right, for my high-end folks, I'm going to advertise tennis bracelets and things with diamonds in them, diamond stud earrings, things like that. And for your lower end, or potentially your group that may skew younger, you want to show the cool, fashionable, dainty, cheaper, that sort of thing. And then there's fewer unsubscribes at the end of the day because you're targeting your list. Nobody feels like this is this isn't for me. This is all diamond jewelry and I'm just not in the market for diamond jewelry. Or these people are always trying to sell me diamonds and I'm clearly not in the market for diamonds. You actually get more out of your subscribership by targeting them directly. Another cool segment might be bridal versus non-bridal. And I'll actually get into that in the next slide, but just looking at segmentation. Yes, Cindy. Oh, you're on mute.
We have a question here, and it's how often would you recommend sending out emails? I know you've got the segments going, but to each segment, how often would you send out an email?
That's a great question. So because you're segmenting, you can actually send out more emails, right? And that's what you want. You want to maximize the number of emails that you get out there without prompting unsubscribes because you're just blasting people too often. So I would say the more often that you have something exciting to share, if you're just saying sale this weekend, President's Day sale this weekend, that's boring, right? But if you're having a sales event and you make it an event and you advertise that if you buy something between this day and this day, you're going to save this much. And the more you buy, the more you save and that sort of thing. Keep it cool, keep it fun. Then you can blast people more often. So it really depends on your audience. It depends on how much they skew to being your real shoppers versus just people that have happened to make a purchase once. But that's something that you really have to feel out. And when you send, every time we send an email, even as Punchmark, but when we're helping our clients send emails as well, we're always looking at the unsubscribe rate, first of all, and then the rate of opens and the rate of the number of clicks. And then we're looking at clicks per item inside the email and the engagement that we're getting. When we have lower engagement, we'll say, okay, we'll record that. We'll say, all right, we're going to send fewer of these emails. And when we get high engagement, we're going to say, okay, we should send more of these emails. So it's really a great question, but it's sort of a trial and error thing. And I would say you can send emails as often as a few times a month to even once a week. I wouldn't recommend more than that, but we definitely have clients that send out emails once a week. And as long as you're not blasting and blanketing your whole list with the same emails, you can go pretty far with it. But I would say, you start with, let's say, once a month. And then as you learn and as you have in between those once a month ones, maybe you have a fun one to send out, see how that one goes, and then slowly increase until you hit a stopping point where you're like, okay, marginally, I'm not getting more returns by sending more emails and my unsubscribes are starting to go up. So I'm going to slow it down a little bit. But great question.
We have another question here too. How often would you post on social media? Um, Instagram, Facebook, what times?
Great question. So, and you can email me and I'll happily go in a lot of detail about this, but just to keep it short, once again, it depends on the quality. So if you have someone in your shop that can create gorgeous images and beautiful posts, then you can post daily. You can post more than daily. If you're posting quality content, so we've had people do something such as, Victoria's post of the week and Ashley's post of the week, and allow people to post multiple times just what their favorite jewelry is for that day or whatever it is. Different people in your store, and then announcements and anything else that you can do. There's so many ways that you can do it. Every time someone who walks in your store and let's say a longtime customer, you're doing a custom piece for them and they're putting it on for the first time, capture those moments, make sure you get them. And it's a mindset, it's something that you have to think about, but these have tremendous value for social. And it's almost like, commercializing it, right? These nice experiences, but you really have to think about their value and the fact that you want to share them in your community, and think about your following as a community and not just people you're targeting, trying to sell to. And if you do it that way, and if you embrace them as a community, then you can share things with them almost emotionally, and you can get a lot more out of it, and you can share more often. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Awesome. So getting back over here to another really cool thing that we do at Punchmark, and we've seen a lot of people do well, is using timed email sequences. And so what this means is your goal is to automate almost a marketing department so that your email marketing service is just creating dollars for you. One of the ways to do that is through timed email sequences. So let's say someone comes in and buys an engagement ring. You add them to your engagement ring email list. And then your email marketing platform automatically in 2 months sends them an email, hey, it's time to buy a band. And I think we've learned that there's a sweet spot, like 9 to 10 months after somebody buys an engagement ring, they typically come in and buy their band, but you don't want to wait quite that long. So let's say 4 months, you send them an email like, hey, it's time to look at bands, or you show them a couple of bands just to get them thinking about it and making sure that they're thinking about your store when they do it. Let's say 6 months later, you send another email. Hey, it's time to come in and check your prongs and get a free cleaning while you're here and that sort of thing. So you're showing them value. And then you're their jeweler. So you can almost say this authoritatively, like, hey, 6 months have gone by. It's time to come in and check your prongs, right? So you're telling them like they've made this investment. It's probably a decent percentage of their income that they spent on this thing. It obviously means a lot emotionally to them. It's time to come in and protect this investment that they made. It's time to come in and check your prongs. And so this email automatically goes out 6 months after they made the purchase. Now you have them browsing your store while you're in the back cleaning their ring, and they're potentially looking at a pair of hoop earrings for their sister or whatever it is, right? There's like real dollar value to these things. And then, the buyback email, as we call it, is you haven't seen someone in 6 months, send them an email that just says, hey, we miss you. And the person actually recognizes the fact that, wow, they noticed that haven't been around for a little while, and now they're looking at beautiful pieces of jewelry, and you offer them a coupon, you try to get them back in the door, and it's not going to work on everyone, but it's free for you to send, and it's going to equate to a couple of sales. Then the abandoned cart email. So this is something our platform automatically sends out, and it's something that you can do on a lot of platforms. But what we do is 24 hours after someone has added to something to their cart, if they haven't made the purchase, we send them an email like, hey, did you leave something behind? And it works almost like that social retargeting, the social media retargeting, where you're sending them an email, you're reminding them about the piece, and you're hopefully driving them back in. And if you can add a coupon to it, even better. So, you want to get them back in the door, you want to potentially make them an offer, but it works and it's free. It's just automatic. And you don't even have to think about it every time, but it's almost like having another salesperson out there reminding people, driving new sales for you. So also a mindset is to always be thinking about growing your list. It really is a mindset. It takes a little while to do. Write it down in the back of your store. Grow your email list. Make a big poster for yourself. Just always be thinking about growing your email list. Every time someone makes a purchase, make sure you add them to your email newsletter list. Every time someone inquires about a product on your website, and if your website can tie into your email marketing platform, even better. But you want all those emails of people that are interested in jewelry on your email list. And I would even go so far as to say, look through your inbox, everything in there. If you get emails from a local lunch place down the road every day with their daily menu, you're on their email list and they're local. Why not put them on your email list? Take that same email address, drop it into your email newsletter. The people who come in and clean your carpets on a weekly or monthly basis, make sure they're on your email list. What's cool is that they know you, so they're typically not going to unsubscribe. I'm just being at Punchmark and having clients and being on the website. Sometimes in testing, I'll subscribe to a newsletter. I often don't unsubscribe, and I get way too many. But it's like almost like a personal feeling when I get their emails when they come in. And so a lot of these people won't unsubscribe from you. You just want to think about growing that list. Think about it like this: there's a real dollar value for every email address that you gain. So it might not be every email turns into a sale, but let's say every 5 turns into a sale. Let's say every 25 turns into one of them is going to make a big sale and be a power user or a long time shopper of yours, right? So when you distribute that across all the email addresses, each one really does have a dollar value that you want. You just want to harness every email address that you can. And if you could start in the low thousands, start sending emails, start growing your list any way that you can. Aim for about 20,000. When you get up to 20,000, you will see value. You will see every time that you send an email out, people are flocking to your site. You're making sales. You're watching sales come in just because you spent a little bit of time curating products or announcing an event, putting a beautiful email together and sending it. Now you have real dollars coming out of this. So it really is a mindset. Anything you can do to remind yourself, your staff, you want to grow your list. Anyone of ours that has done it, starting a couple of years ago, where they really embraced the mindset, started to grow their list, they're all seeing significant sales as a result, especially through COVID. Now, looking at tools, if you don't have an email marketing platform, they range from extremely cheap and extremely easy to use to big, cumbersome marketing automation platforms like HubSpot. One of the easiest ones to get into is Constant Contact. We have a couple of people on Constant Contact. And then typically you'll graduate up to a MailChimp or an Aweber or something similar, where you have more flexibility, more customizability. And then just see inside while you're investigating whether you can segment the list, whether it is capable of doing email sequences. When somebody first gets on a list, you want to hit them with a 1, 2, 3 or something like that, a salvo of emails when they subscribe. And if it can integrate with your website in any way, that's even better. So HubSpot and Klaviyo and the email marketing platforms out there, they will integrate you with your website so that when someone does make a purchase, it automatically goes into a list. But even something as simple as like in MailChimp, you can take a form out of the back end of MailChimp and grab a piece of embed code and embed the form into your website so that you can have subscribe to our newsletter right on your website, and it goes directly into MailChimp. So that's a pretty cool, easy way to do it. And it's just a way to be thinking about just getting more subscribers. So events, another really cool thing that we saw in 2020 was people just trying to keep it exciting, getting jewelry out there as often as they can in front of people without always saying, hey, look at this jewelry, and blasting things out on social and an email. And so here's where events were a lot of fun. You want to keep a fun vibe, obviously. You want to make it so that people see that your your website or your store is a happening place. Things are going down. They're missing out if they're not coming to check it out. You want, through these events, when they come visit your store or they come visit your website, you're getting people just comfortable coming in and checking out your website. And that's something that you really want, right? You want that comfort factor. So there's a value to that. And events, if you're not doing them, they can seem like they're pretty daunting. And they're so worth it. And I think that once you get through the first one, make a few mistakes, whatever it is, from that point forward, you'll only get better, and you'll realize that they are worth it. Even if the first event is a flop, just showing people that things were going down, and sending out the announcements and showing that you're doing cool things, I think that adds enough value to get you past the first one, even if it literally comes down to nothing and you don't make, you make barely any sales as a result of it. So during COVID, you're probably asking, how can I have events? We actually, we had some retailers do some really cool things, so much so that they posted them on forums and other people started to do them. So one of them was discounts on gift cards. So this happened a lot during the holidays, around Black Friday, where you do, let's say, 10% off or $10 off a $100 gift card, or $50 off a $500 gift card, and then increasing in proportions the discount to the dollar value as the dollar value goes up. So you're basically giving away free money. And so it's very attractive. It's a cool gift for someone. So the dollar value is higher than what the person spent. So you spend, let's say, $440 and you get a $500 gift card, and you hand someone a $500 gift card as a gift. That's a substantial gift right there. And what's even cooler about it, as you probably know, people typically outspend their gift card. So, if they see something that's just out of their reach, it's usually more appealing than something that they can afford. So they take that $500 gift card, they come into the store and they're buying something for 600. So not only is it cash up front, but it's potentially another wad of cash when you make the sale. Wish list entries were a big one. We had a couple of customers, and this was one of the things that was shared on forums, and a lot of people suddenly were asking us to help them out with this and create landing pages and everything else. So you do a giveaway, you buy an expensive handbag, or because you want to attract people that are interested in jewelry, maybe your giveaway is a pair of diamond studs or something like that. And you simply tell people that between this date and this date, come into the website, register, and add a couple of items to your wish list. Right? So pretty easy to do. Just do that and you're entered to win this beautiful pair of diamond studs or this Louis Vuitton bag or whatever it is. Um, and you hit them, you entice them by this beautiful pair of earrings. And it's such an easy thing to do. And again, it gets people into the site, gets them comfortable with the site, which has value just in itself. But then what we had some of our clients do, which I thought was ingenious, they had us create forms where it wasn't just registering. It was actually, you were putting the person's fiance or boyfriend or whatever it was in the form. So it's like, who are you creating this list for? And then the store would reach out to that person. And so just before the holidays, this was great. But before any holiday, you contact that person, the fiance, the boyfriend, whoever it is, the mother, the person buying, and you say, okay, I now have a list for Jenny because she actually made a list of things that she wants. Why don't you come in for a consultation and we'll talk about her list? And so it's a great way. It's like, hey, Jenny actually picked these things out. What more could you ask for? I'm literally handing you a list of things that Jenny wants. And so it worked out really well. And so for people that had Mother's Day events or things that they did in store that typically generated a lot of leads, now all of a sudden they had virtual events or online events where they were generating just as many leads and then turning them into subsequent sales by doing the right things with those leads. But it works for everything. Any type of event that you want to have, any sale that you're having, make an event out of it, make it exciting. Give people parameters. It starts on this day, ends on this day. Create beautiful landing pages and banners on your website, and you'll find that it's well worth it. It's just, again, you're just reminding people that jewelry is the answer right now. You're getting it out in front of them. You're making them think jewelry, and a lot of times that's just winning for people. So thank you for being here. we partnered with AJS on education over this year and last year, and we've had a phenomenal time doing it. Cindy is great, even for offering ideas for a lot of what comes out of these webinars and speaking at AJS. And AJS has just become a great partner of ours for education. So Punchmark is really happy to be doing this. And it's really about, I was in other sectors outside of jewelry for a short period of time between when I started in jewelry and when I came back to jewelry on the technology side. And we really want to get jewelry up to where other industries are in terms of the knowledge of e-commerce and online advertising and all this stuff. So if you ever have questions, if you have questions about any of this, and I think we talked to Cindy, there's a giveaway right now where we're offering, if you send me an email or send Cindy an email, we will send you an e-commerce checklist. So just a way to make sure you go through a checklist and make sure you're doing the right things in order to target people online and make a lot of sales. And one thing we talked about this morning, so Katie on my digital marketing team said that she wants to pick someone at random from that list of people that emails and do a full consultation with them, like do a 30-minute free consultation with them. So if that's any value to you at all, we're offering that. But also, if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. You'll find if you don't know us, we really are happy to answer. This is a passion. It's not just a business for us. We love to talk about it. Sometimes it's hard to get us to stop. And I think maybe that's a good segue. I will stop, and we're here to answer any questions.
Well, there were some inquiries about your slides, and also to let everyone know that we will send a recording of this session to anyone that's registered for the session. And you wouldn't mind making your slides available, would you, Bryan?
100%, sure.
Okay, so we can take care of that for you. We got some thank yous, Bryan, Elizabeth, Paolo. Paola has a question. Quick question. Website pricing. Does $sign have to be posted? Oh, does the price have to be posted? I think that's what he's saying.
Great question. So this is debatable, but I would say anytime that you're not, people are going to leave and go find it somewhere else. I think people now have become accustomed to you giving them all the information that they want, and hiding price. There's something to be said for hiding price on the higher dollar value items and things like that. But in general, you want to try to answer all their questions. And for people that traditionally have said, I don't want to do e-commerce, or I want to try to drive people in the store, I would say you can still work on driving people in the store to answer all their questions, but you're now more than ever leaving money on the table if someone can't check out on your website, because there's always going to be that cohort, that contingent of people that do just want to make a purchase right from their couch. Hope that
And
answers.
there was a question here that I think you answered beautifully with your presentation. What are some suggestions that you would give for someone who advertises and has an e-commerce website with beautiful images and detailed descriptions, but still isn't getting a lot of sales online? And I think you covered quite a bit in your presentation. Any specific suggestion you'd like to give?
Yeah,
Where
sure.
to
First
start?
of all, don't hesitate to reach out, because I think that's where the most fun is in brainstorming around this. So we can look at what you're doing, look at Google Analytics, see where people are dropping off, look at that behavior flow diagram. One thing, it definitely takes time. Even our stores that did $200,000 just over the holidays alone on e-commerce, none of them started there. They all started a small trickle, and they just grew that small trickle slowly. So definitely don't expect miracles when it comes to e-commerce. If you're doing the right thing and you're doing it consistently, in the beginning, you're probably putting more money into it than you're getting back, but it's an investment, and eventually the dollars will definitely come if you're doing the right things. But if you want to talk, offline, happy to brainstorm with you. Happy to take a look at your site and see what. Congratulations for having the site set up and for having beautiful pictures. But yeah, you can follow some of the things I said here to start, and then from there, get creative and just continue to do the right things, and the dollars will come.
I wanted to remind the audience of a couple of things. One is of someone you know, Bryan. We'll have Michael here next week talking about e-commerce and shopping online from the customers, the consumer's perspective. So you've given us a good insight from your perspective, from the retailer's perspective. And so we'll want everyone to come back and get the other side of the story.
Yes,
And
indeed.
and I wanted to remind everyone of the March Atlanta show coming up. And on the pre-show conference, we're going to have a demo of how to live stream via Zoom, Facebook. It will be an ongoing demonstration on the conference day and on Saturday and Sunday as well. And Ben Smithy and his group are putting that together. The other thing I wanted to remind everyone of, and that is that we are following the CDC guidelines, and masks are required at the show, and you will feel very safe and comfortable there, just in the way you would make your customers feel comfortable in your store. So we do look forward to seeing you there. And do we have any more questions? Let's see. Before I let you go here, Bryan.
All right. Thanks, Rich. I just saw your comment. Nice to see you in here.
Oh, Paolo is asking, does the money sign have to be shown versus a dash instead of the dollar sign? I'm not sure I understand. Also, are you listed several prices ending in different endings like 99 cents or 9.95?
Yeah.
Is there a reason? Is there a reason for that?
So different sites will do this differently, and it's up to what you want to do. But there's that psychological value of having the 99. So you're just below, 4,999.99. Psychologically, that's below the threshold of showing that big 5,000 number. So some people want to do that. Other people look at it as, I want to show clean numbers. I want everything to end in a 95 or a 00. So it really depends on what your preference is. And I don't think there's a better way. It's if you like the clean way of doing it, you can do that. I've never seen anyone do a dash instead of a dollar sign, but you might be onto something. That might be a cool thing to do, just to stand out and do something different.
I mentioned this book last week, Predictably Irrational by Dan Ariely, and he talks about how people make decisions about value and money and how to talk about money. I highly recommend that book. It's entertaining as well. Gives you some ideas.
I've heard
And
that's a great book.
I don't see anything else going on here, but tell me a bit more about what you do at Punchmark.
So I am the technology lead here, CTO. And so I just make sure that the platform is the best that it can be. We're constantly working on the platform. It's something that evolves every single day. And so just, adding new features and ironing out kinks in current features, and looking at new ways to create experiences for people, and just trying to create a great product overall.
Hey, the Punchmark team, they are going to be at the March show, right?
Yes, absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Okay, there, and thank you for your sponsorship at the October show. You guys in Clear Sale, thank you very much. And I don't see any other questions. Any other insight you can give?
I would say I'll leave it for people to ask. And otherwise, I'll go off on a tangent. We'll all be here for an hour. But yeah, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I saw a couple of our clients in here, Rich, Mimi. Reach out to me. It doesn't have to be somebody from outside. We love to talk about this stuff. We love to help. And I think we learned a lot. And we're always learning, but 2020 was very interesting. It put us through some interesting rigors, and I think we got a lot out of it, and hopefully can make some pretty cool predictions as a result of it.
Well, Bryan, you were talking about Google Analytics, and you get really into some interesting information that I'm not sure I would even know how to start looking for. Maybe we can have you come back and you can give us a little Google Analytics 101.
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to do that.
Okay, well, we have no more questions, and thank you so much, Bryan, for being here. And I
Thank
will
you. Thank everyone for being
see you
here.
in Atlanta.
Yes, indeed. Thanks for the opportunity, Cindy. Always
All
great.
right. Bye-bye.